This is Kevin Mayo, and today we're drinking Drunken Rabbit Password 01, or Password equals 01. It's their experimental series. It is a New England IPA, 7.2% ABV, 50 IBUs, which is a term we don't use too much anymore. Brewed with oats and hopped with El Dorado and Idaho 7. Drunken Rabbit, they've been in business, what, a year? 2 years now. I think 2 years now. They're in South Hadley, Massachusetts. They're one of our local Western Mass brewers. They have a tap room, and that's been primarily what they were doing, all of their sales. But now they are canning, and they are distributing, and they are experimenting, and would like us to check out their beer and go ahead and let them know what we think about it. It is fresh. I know it's fresh. There's no can-by date on it. They're not that big into it, not that sophisticated yet. So let's go ahead and give it a crack and see what we got. A lot of energy in the beer when I cracked it. As always, if you like the reviews, please subscribe and go ahead and leave comments because we love talking about beer. Again, New England IPA, we're going to be hazy. We should be juicy, tropical, on the sweeter side. Color-wise, we've got a pale yellow. Oh, we got probably 3 fingers of bright white head on it. Try saying that fast 3 times. It is hazy. You can't see it through in any way, shape, or form. And it's a little dark in here, so I can't tell if there's any bubbles streaming up on it or not right now. Aroma-wise, we have... I get a little bit of malt. Just at the back end of the aroma, you get a little bit of malt. Got a hint of fresh cut grass, a hint of pine, a little bit of bubble gum, and a little bit of dankness. So it's got a couple of hints of older style IPAs in it. Again, when I'm getting the fresh cut grass, the piney notes. Getting a little bit of dankness of it, a little bit of oomph to it. So let's go ahead and give it a try. Cheers. So it's reminds me of more of an older style IPA. I know it's got the it's got the look of a New England IPA, but it really has more of a traditional West Coasty type IPA. I'm getting sticky on the tongue. I'm getting sticky on the tongue. I'm getting a little bit of malt up front, just the slightest hint of like cracker. It finishes pretty bitter, and you get that bitter in the back of the throat. If I didn't see the IBUs, I would have more than likely guessed a little higher than 50. Again, you get that dankness. You get that malt, like I said up front. You get that kind of that dank. You do get some piney notes in there. And just floating around at the back end of it, like on the tip of the tongue, a brief flash of a little bit of sweetness. I'm going to guess there's some lactose in there. I think if this was filtered, we would call it West Coast IPA. Got a little bit of grapefruit rind in there. Another little hint and just a little undertone of orange. Finishes a little bit dry. It does have a little bit of a hot bite. I'm getting a little bit of that hot bite in the back of the throat. Overall, I like this beer a lot, but I think if you're been drinking a ton of New England IPAs and that's your game and that's really like where your palate is, you're not going to like it. If you're a little bit older, I should say older, but a little bit, your drinking game goes back a little further, and you remember the old styles. You remember being dank. You remember being bitter. You remember they used to put this thing called malt into beer, and you could taste it. If you remember all that stuff, I think you'd like this one. I wouldn't call it a great beer. I think it's a very solid beer. I think it would be a solid beer, an 85 out of 100. I got a 4-pack. I'm looking forward to drinking more of them. So until next time, keep drinking.